So yeah, Neon Odyssey only needs 69,000 more for the next stretch goal. Yeah, which is good because I want more stretch goals. Oh, hey, we're on. Are you still there?
Yes, I am. I just got my dinner just got here.
Oh, all right.
There's pizza. I can't let that pizza get cold.
I mean, no, I get it. Oh, never mind. It's not 68,000. They got another 1,000. Yeah. Anyway, we should probably talk about wrestling now. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff. This is Tim.
What's up?
We're doing a show tonight. Look, all right. To be fair, we had our production meeting last Thursday. We get into the meeting, and it's usually, Tim and I show up. Zacho shows up, and we're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And usually it's, "Hey, how's it going?" And Zach goes, "Hey, it's good." And I said, and there was silence. I said, Zach, was like, "Oh, I'm not doing great." I mean, I can't do it justice. The way he sounded, Tim and I were like, we will do a dark show this week. You go rest. We couldn't get off that call soon enough. Mm-hmm. You need to take care of you, buddy. We'll be fine. So, yeah, that's fine. I mean, Zacho has contributed. He gave us a list of, hey, let's talk about these things. So we're going to talk about story. He's given subjects. We're not going to give answers. We're just going to throw it out and, see how things are going. And I think some of you are going to have opinions. Other than that, it's chill tonight. We're being chill tonight. We've got a little synth wave going on, courtesy of the midnight, because Tim has turned me onto the midnight, and
Well, I'd been speaking of the midnight for a while, and once Caliban heard a bit of that Neon Odyssey, he's like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, I got to hear more of this. And the great thing about the midnight is it turns out they will release instrumental versions of all their songs and adamantly do not go for copyright claims, so they make it as Twitch and YouTube friendly as possible. Now, whether this is truly YouTube friendly or not, I guess we'll find out by what happens to our YouTube stream. But I know we're fine on Twitch because we didn't get into trouble on yesterday. At least I don't think we did. Yeah, Neon Odyssey Mega is I mean it's yeah, I there was a part of me that's like, as a forever DM, my first reaction was, I mean, I want the book, but I will never get to actually play. If anything gets done with this, I will be the GM. And so at first it's like, what am I doing? And then the answer came. I'm getting it because I want it. Because I love this story and I'm really curious on the nuts and bolts of how they do the classes. But that's a whole nother thing. Tonight, we're doing a dark match. I've largely left RNG alone. But, well, I made a couple changes, and then, we can, if anyone has anything they want to see, we can do. Because I'm starting out with, I don't care if you guys see this. We're going to start with Punkmaster Ghost versus Alistair Evergreen. Then it came up with Jean Tristan versus Adrian Driscoll. Interesting. And then this match was requested by Race Carlock. Race Carlock, by the way, I have to apologize. The game would not let me make a triple threat handicap, a 3-on-1 handicap match tornado. So rather than lose the 3, because I really, when you gave me that, decided, okay, you're going to fight the absolute units. So it's going to be a normal handicap match, meaning the units are going to tag, but you're still getting your 3-on-1. Look, you're still going to get your ass kicked, which strangely seems to be what your request was. So this is another one. Every freaking week, RNG gives me this match. Every freaking week. And I know it's partially because of a rivalry, but anyway. This one, there was a different opponent for Blue Hood, but I went, nah, I got to get Hex in here somehow. And it just, I mean, I know this match will probably happen in the actual show at some point, but, you know, it just seemed like fun. Big guys. Another one every freaking week. And yes, I know Mega Rider is no longer on the show, but he's still in the game, and every freaking week it wants to do this match. So I'm going to let it happen. And then this one...
Try and get it out of its system.
See if I can get it out of its system. And this one, I went, oh, why not? But more importantly, I made it a casket match. So that's what we're getting tonight. And you know, if the show runs short, because we're not going to have any promos or anything, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, you know, of course, an early night might be fine. I mean, look, we're well rested. Tim and I were exhausted yesterday. If you listen to Sunday in the Lab, you could, especially towards the end, we're watching the park walkthrough video, and I realized neither of us is talking a lot, and it's because we were tired. I went to a 13-hour conference on Saturday. By the way, guys,
that's a long conference.
Bask in the one time I actually am just fully me on stream and not Jerry or Dr. Caliban. Also,
and I'm actually talking on Monday.
Yeah. I actually got it. You know, the other thing we got to keep our eyes open for because of what happened. I don't think it'll happen this time. I think he's busy, but you never know if a wild Bosco is going to show up or not.
Sure.
You know, it could happen. So anyway, let's, you know what? I should probably do.
Start one of the matches?
Well, I actually realized I haven't actually saved the card yet. So I actually should start the show.
That too.
The hell? What are you doing here? You know what? I don't know what it's doing. I'm going to let it happen. We're just going to let it happen. Is you versus Grim a good request? I wish I had noticed that like a minute ago, dude. I don't know. Can I re-edit stuff?
Pretty sure you can't.
Yeah, I think once I've started the show, I think I'm locked. Sorry. But if we have time left over, we'll see if I can do something anyway. Because if we get through the entire universe match, I can then just go into regular mode and make it happen, Brad. So hold that thought. Wait a minute, I gotta press this. Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, and because we're so close to the switch over, I'm not making a big deal about it. The music files are wonky, so people are gonna be coming out to weird music. We just have to accept it. So, fun fact about Soul Train. A little bit of a fun fact. So with Punk Master Ghost, I have gotten into a podcast called Weird Kids, which is a Critical Role podcast featuring Taliesin Jaffe and Ashley Johnson, with the theme being they're both former child actors. And Taliesin was also part of the LA punk scene. He was a goth. His Twitter handle is Executive Goth, but very linked into the punk culture. And I hear him talking about punk culture and punk ethos all the time. So I've been trying to use that when I do PM Ghost promos. Trying to go deeper into having PM Ghost have the LA punk ethos. as best as I can, not coming from the LA punk scene. I was part of the Seattle goth scene in the 90s. For example, I don't know what the fuck has happened to Alistair's music. Now, I'm not worried too much because we're really close to the switch over between what we have now in 2K26. And Zacho is setting up the music files for that. So we should be fine. And I won't have to worry about as much because Zacho and I are going to be sharing an account. But you never know. I don't think, by the way, Hex, I don't think we're going to be blowing your music. Because I don't think I have the new music on my machine. So that would be something being done by Zacho.
Oh, then there's some potential good news for Grim. We might get End of Days back.
We might. If they keep it. You know how they are about theme songs. So, those of you who don't know what Tim's talking about, there's rumor that Baron Corbin is coming back. Now,
there's a secondary rumor that Danhausen might be involved in him coming back, but
yeah,
consider these two separate.
Yeah. And Thunder Baron, thank you for the Prime resubscribed to 57 months. Hey, it's out of character night. I can actually call out the bits and subs as they happen. Yeah, Baron Corbin might, you know, the whole thing they're doing with Danhausen and whatever the new experiment is, could involve Baron Corbin. So.
Yep.
So we will see.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like Hex was saying, the guy that Danhausen was working on was huge. Imagine if it was Cass.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking it's Braun.
That'd be cool too.
But again, that's just.
But man, if it was Big Bill,
getting Big Bill back would be amazing. So, you know what? I'm gonna make a confession here, and that is finishing moves, guys. I sometimes have a finishing move challenge, and that is so you all submit your finishing moves. Great! Oh my God, we got a hype train. Also, thank you to Mega Draco Rex. For a Prime resubscribe for 29 months. Guys, you've got Primes. If you got them, use them. Yay! Anyway, when Zacho fills out the list for me of your finishing moves, he fills out what it's called in the game and then the finisher. And if it's a move I don't actually remember, in other words, it's got some weird name and I don't know exactly what it looks like, I might get it wrong. Or it might be, well, which pile driver is it? So, for example, I don't know if that's the Requiem or not. Because I don't know if that's what that move was called. And Thunder Baron with a 150 stream streak. Still in it to win it. I think Squatch is still ahead of you. Wait, oh, I forgot he could do the teleport. He doesn't do it very often. Also, you know, sometimes I get the names wrong. I'm not like Bosco. I don't have everything memorized. I've been doing pretty good learning stuff over the last few years. But after a while, I realized it just doesn't fucking matter. Okay. That I know is the Wonderland. Wonderball. That's the Wonderland. Yeah, and it always helps. It's just, and I appreciate that, Mega. It's just, sometimes, especially because I'm trying to call on the fly. I'm trying to keep up with the matches. The one thing I'm happy about is tonight my voice will be fine. Because Jerry's voice is a little rough on me at times when I get hyped.
Sure.
I often rate, okay, what kind of night's it going to be based on whose voice I have to do. Because some are harder than... I don't know why I struggle with Tommy Black. Because I try for British. And part of me is trying to think about my brother-in-law's accent. Part of it's trying to be Billy Butcher from The Boys. And yet I always feel I'm ending up being Australian. And yet, I don't feel I have a problem with R. Sawyer. But I think that's because he does so many promos. I have a good hook on what his voice is supposed to sound like. And weirdly, one that I think would give me trouble but doesn't is Sam Jax. Because it's a very specific cadence, but it's so specific that I can hear it in my head and do it. My easiest voices, all right, Unkley's easy for me. Adrian Driscoll is easy for me. Just because they're so distinct. Theron is fine. I'm just basically doing Doc Holliday. Plus, Hex does enough promos. I have a feel for that voice. Dagrick's easy for me because I'm just doing Scrooge McDuck. Nice Ice, I'm basically trying to do Minsk from Baldur's Gate 3. Draco's hard just because the voice Mega uses is a little hard for me to replicate. Who else is hard for me? Nope. And Alistair wins. Azir is a little bit of a challenge at times because Off-Key Lime once explained that he's basically Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows. So anytime I can do a voice where I'm just replicating another voice is, those are easier. But then there are voices where it's like, any of the luchadors where I'm trying to do a vaguely Mexican accent, especially if they're in with each other. Because then it's like, okay, I can't just rely on the accent for the voice. I have to make them sound different. So I try and go deeper with Minwanu, higher with Juan. Thank God Ignacio doesn't actually have an accent. And I actually try and go for way too stuck up with El Albatros. So. All right, well, while we got... Oh, it skipped the... Oh, no, because it's doing a thing. Never mind. Whoa, Jean took out the ref. Thank goodness he's functionally immortal. All right, Zacho Duo gave me some subjects. for us to discuss. So I'm just going to throw one of them out. The first one is, and this is relevant to Tim's interests. So folks, what do you think Storyteller's connection with Zeta is? Why overthrow the Allfather? So go, thoughts. And Tim and I can't actually tell you anything because we know.
We actually know the answer to a degree.
We've worked on this story. I mean, I could tell you the out of character reason, but yeah. So Hex is saying kicking something with Grim into overdrive. Yeah.
Oh, so I finally watched the last episode of the Hulk Hogan mini doc.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Not good.
So Pokey is saying take over power kind of stuff. That is a take. I think that would be... Let's put it this way. I could see that definitely. It could be a Zeta thing. Storyteller is... I think one of the things to keep in mind, and this is part of what we've been playing with this story, is on some level we've got to play with the fact that Storyteller is a being from a higher plane of existence. And so he's going to have a different set of motivations. And for more of that, I will let Tim speak because it's his character.
Well, I mean, the thing is the out of character reason is just being involved in the booking and stuff like that. I tend to not get myself involved in much. So, we're developing the whole, working behind the scenes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he's not a regular wrestler. It's, kind of the Undertaker schedule, as they say.
Okay, Sage did make a good pun there, though.
But yeah, so it's just I'm my character isn't entirely active, but the whole point is that when he is active, there's a degree of importance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their second teleport tonight. That's interesting. I mean, out of character, and this kind of gets into the next subject that Zacho gave us. Out of character, it's... Now, Arkoff is not really going anywhere. Arkoff is still involved. He still creates characters, especially for Flashbang. He does a lot of work with Bosco. But he decided he didn't want to have a character on the shows anymore. So this... Yes, Matrix. The background music is in fact intentional.
Doc has recently become a fan of the Midnight and is now using every excuse to listen to their music.
I really am. We might get to those extra matches, Brad. These first two went really fast. But one of the reasons I was okay with the Driscoll versus Jaunt match is due to their natures. You're not going to see that. That's less likely to occur on the show. But yeah, no, like Tim said, I've become a fan of the Midnight, which he's been trying. He has been bringing them up for 2 years now.
I don't know. I mean, I've been listening to him forever.
Yeah, I mean, you bring it off and on. I mean, like when you introduced me to Starcadian. But the guy, if you've seen, and we were talking a little bit about it earlier, if you've seen the trailer for Neon Odyssey, which is the Kickstarter campaign going on right now for Legend of Evantris, the Midnight did the music for that. And so this is the same band. And the thing is, I really liked the Midnight Odyssey song, or the Neon Odyssey song. And so Tim was like, well, here's some more. And then the fact that these songs, there are versions of all of the songs you're hearing right now that have lyrics, but the Midnight release instrumentals of all their music. And they very much say, you please use it for Twitch. Use it on stuff. We will not copyright claim you. The advantages of being an indie act. And so with tonight being a Dark Night, I was like, I mean, I was doing it for the intro instead of the wrestling themes. And then just before we went on air, I went, you know what, screw it. We're leaving the music on.
It's just very quiet, Sage. That's probably why you're not hearing it.
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, because I've... Hang on. I could bump it a little. I mean, I see it playing, so you should be hearing it.
Oh yeah, no, it's playing. It's just it's playing quietly.
Well, because I don't want it to overpower us. I literally
exactly.
Want just this background music. All right. Before we get into this match, which again, Race Car Lock specifically asked for this match. He was like, "Oh, we're doing a dark show. Could you do this?" And I was like, and this is one of those. It's like it's non-canon. Yeah, why not? Screw it. Anyway, so before we get into this, though, let's go into... So we were discussing the storyteller's connection with Zeta, why overthrow the Allfather. Hand in hand with that is what we are now calling the Murder Cave's Last Stand, because you have Allfather taken out by Zeta. You have Grizzly Adams pondering, is his time coming to an end? And you had Chaz Lee just make a big push to go for the Nexus Titan Championship and get his ass kicked by Tommy Black. So there is a lot of what's going on with the Murder Cave. Now, part of this is what's actually going on with the Murder Cave, which I won't necessarily speak to directly myself, but if Shadow Dancer Bob feels like it's something he's good with sharing, that's awesome. But yeah, you know, there is a factor that comes into this of how active or inactive are people, and we understand people come and go, and sometimes people take a break and come back. We're seeing that with CJ Blackthorn having had to take some time off because life, but he's still around, so obviously Jagger is still part of the show. There are other, you know, we kept around Devin because Shoot Nation made good characters to work with, and we even built a little storyline with them. And then when Gamer Devin returned, it was like, oh, well, your character's already involved in stuff. Not only that did he go great, he went in with the storyline, we created it, and But Bob, both people that have actively tried to murder Grimm have come together to be an even bigger bait in my ass. Well, there you go, Bob. Sure, that's what's going on in the story, Abs.
I'm trying to think if I ever actually tried to kill Grimm. You know, mess with the plans, yes, but I'm trying to think if I actually tried to kill them.
I don't know if you tried to kill him. You did. I mean, you did obviously screw up the block. I call it
messing with my plans.
The seal. Zeta, on the other hand, has actively tried to kill him, so that's a fair statement. So anyway, no, but one of the factors to keep in mind is so Arkoff actively just said, "Hey, that's true. The device did blow up. There's no proof that."
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess.
It wasn't actively the storyteller. I think that was feedback from him stopping the device from doing its job. Anyway, so Arkoff just was like, wanting to retire the Allfather character, even though he's still around. But Grizz and Chaz aren't really much around anymore. So, it's the active member of the group, ironically, is the one we haven't seen in a while. And that is Bob. And we got Devin saying, "I love everyone's story so far." Yeah. And again, that was the thing with there are characters, it's okay that we keep a little momentum going. If we haven't seen somebody for a while, that doesn't mean we're going to take the character off. But the more active people are going to get their characters featured more often. And Devin was working great as a character for us to use for stories. And then when Gamer Devin returned, it was like, "Oh yeah, you're still involved in stuff," and he just took it, ran with it, and so we've got his story, and that allows us to do stuff. And he's a great, honestly, Devin, your character is great because I'm gonna make a bold statement, and then I'll start the match after my bold statement. In a lot of ways, Devin fills a role right now that I would put almost analogous to The Miz, in that he's a great character you can plug in anywhere and it'll make the story work. And in wrestling, you need those characters. You need those workhorses where we need something to shore up this story. All right, let's plug our dependable one in there, and that'll get some things going. And that's kind of what Devin is right now, is that dependable character that can just fit in just about anywhere. And it helps that Devin is one of our characters who's just a guy. All right, I'm going to start the match.
You're back.
All right. Hey, Rosso. Oh. And Nakano. I'm going to be honest. I've always loved this theme song, and honestly, Nakano is exactly the right guy to have it. I'm gonna, and again, this is a, and then, okay, welcome back. And this is another one where the music got kind of fucked up, but I feel I found a song that works for them. Here's another thing I'm going to say, and I know this was Shinichi's choice. The redesign on Adonis Washington just works. I mean, it also was a sign of, him ditching the aspect of the character that was kind of silly. So you're going to take him more seriously as a character now.
Well, and also part of that design was based on Glitch.
Yeah, it was the old hair glitch. But yeah, coming in as with that hair as Adonis, this now feels like you know, again, that solid team of veterans. And, you know, makes one of my favorite things we did last year was the entire storyline that bumped the units into the upper card. You know, TJ becoming the champ. At the same time, Adonis and Forrest became the tag champs. You know, it took these guys from, you know, solid, dependable mid-carders to, no, these are actually top talent. Since Nakano's in this match, oh, there goes my voice a little. Next thing that's on Zacho's list of things, Jerry's decision to wager the Outlaws' jobs. So what do you think's going to happen with that? Now, we all know, and I'm going to be, you know, I think we've all discussed this, that obviously the most obvious factor in this is that Hex is still part of our community. And first, Hex is saying, I'm still your favorite mid-carder. Upper mid-card. You know, again, Theron works as the dependable heel. You need a heel for something, but Theron will work for it. Anyway, as I was going to say, with the Outlaws' jobs, obviously Hex is still part of the community. So anything getting rid of Theron is going to have a timestamp on it.
Well, the thing is for some of these, when it comes to wrestling, even if the outcome is known, it's the how do we get to said outcome.
Right. And I think part of it is, you know, and again, what are people think? Because all Jerry has said right now is, maybe CJ's offer is something to consider. But in the end, these are characters that aren't going anywhere. It's all how we do it. And that's what it comes down. And again, we had, you know, one of the things is, oh, please don't get, if you get count out, I'm restarting the match. And part of it was very much the Theron attacking Jerry in the ring after Jerry made the offer is literally the most Theron thing in the world. And Jerry cracking under it is, I mean, part of it was notes by Zacho, but part of it was an in the moment, the improv felt right to me. And it's something that Zacho and I then discussed. And that led to exactly where we are now, especially the fact that Hex was so into that improv. And it's like, okay, we're going to do this thing. Good. And that leads to where we are with the Outlaws and the offer. And I understand everyone's like, oh, it's Lawson tactics. And it's like, yeah, except no. Because Lawson in the end is very much someone who's power tripping for the sake of power tripping, for the sake of Whereas Jerry, it's a very specific, I am sick of your bullshit in particular.
Well, it is coming from a point of desperation.
Yeah. Again, if you get counted out, I am restarting the freaking match. Wow, it is like they can hear me. And a cutter. I mean, I know, yeah, it's kind of a stunner. Stunner is just in cutter variations. You know, if Nakano wins this match, I'm going to laugh my ass off. You know, Vegeta, I'm going to give you a moment of pure honesty. I don't remember. I mean, it was in part a piece of the lead up to that Multivania. Because for the Multivania match to work, Sir Uncle Dunk had to be at the peak of his power. And the car bomb actually played into that. And honestly, I mean, that story has worked out. I mean, we're still getting dividends from that story. All right, there's a pathing problem. But they're still getting in, so I'm okay.
That was fortunately one of the things they did improve with this version.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that, you know, you get stories like that is and I see this all the time. I mean, it's kind of the role-playing game problem of you go into the bar. There's a mysterious stranger in the corner. His head is clouded in smoke, and his eyes seem to have an eerie glow. Who else is in the bar? There's a little goblin in the corner. I go talk to the goblin. Things like the firebomb are like that goblin. They aren't meant to be a big focus, and yet they're what the story, what the players latch onto.
Honestly, I can't remember what the deal was with that.
You know what? I'm going to let this one stand. I realized what I should have done, and I'll remember this for next time. Do this match, but make it no DQ falls count anywhere. Because that's a way you can avoid the count out, is remove the count. Nakano, I hope you're happy. I hope you're proud.
It's a dark show, doesn't count.
Yep. It's like, whose line is it anyway? You know, the games are all made up and the points don't matter.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here. You know, one of there was an interview recently with Colin Mockery. I think I might have mentioned this I don't know if I mentioned this in a Nightmare Cinema or a Sunday stream. He was being just generally interviewed about his career, and they asked about Drew Carey, and he said, if you're going to know a millionaire, Drew Carey is the one to know.
Yeah.
because he appreciates everyone.
Oh yeah, well, and he's notoriously generous. I mean, he did that whole thing during the writer's strike.
Yeah, I mean the writer's strike is the example. I mean he made sure people economically unsure could eat. So yeah.
I don't remember the original host name
of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yep.
Clive something.
Oh.
You're talking about the British version.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I remember his first name was Clive. Yeah, because the
Anderson? No, that's
no Clive. You know, it is Clive Anderson. You're right. Well, maybe right. That's what the internet's for. Anyway.
Yep. Look at that. I was actually right. Well, the thing is that the Comedy Central had look at that. Had the British version for a while for syndication.
Yeah, and that really, I mean, I remember watching it a lot. And so when I heard there was going to be an American version, okay, cool. And then it was Drew Carey. All right. To be honest, I was much more regular watcher of Whose Line than I was the Drew Carey show.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I gave some episodes a try because of Whose Line, but it.
Oh yeah.
There were some decent episodes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it brought Craig Ferguson to America, which you got to appreciate.
Sure.
I'm debating here.
Sorry, I've got Raw on the other monitor, and I just.
Anything interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like the way you said that.
Well, guess who's back? Back again. Tell a friend. Brock's back. Brock's back again.
All I've got to say is if they've got The Rock back.
No, Brock.
Oh, Brock. Oh, okay.
Brock.
I thought you said Rock, and I was like, if they have The Rock back and he does not have an interaction with Danhausen.
No, apparently that whole taking his gloves off and putting him in the middle of the ring was just to work.
Of course it was. Anyway, I'm gonna start this. So again, this freaking match shows up every week. So I'm gonna let the game have it and see if it gets it out of its system. Oh, you're not wrong.
No, Sage, as long as somebody is alive, Punk has proved this. As long as somebody is alive, never count it out.
Yeah. The speaking of which, did you hear they killed Captain America again?
Okay, now we're still talking. They killed Steve Rogers again, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They killed Steve Rogers again, just like recently, like in the last month. And I'm like, could we get a scoreboard of who has died the most and come back? And, so Steve's got to be up there. I don't think he can beat Wolverine for number of deaths. And you don't put Jean Grey up because she's an outlier and would skew everything. And I think the other one that would really be up there is Charles Xavier.
Yeah, okay. And of course, I with Rosso, that was one of my first thoughts too, was Optimus Prime also had that that record for a while.
I mean, that's a fair one if we want to do crossover, because then you can bring in the DC characters, and you know we've killed Batman at least a couple of times. The Flash, yeah, the Flash dies a lot. I think Hawkman dies a lot, but resurrection is part of his thing.
Right. Well, and that's been my biggest thing for a while with any mutant related character. As soon as they started doing the Genosha thing, or not Genosha, Krakoa thing.
Right.
Where they're like, you know what? We're going to have this period of time where deaths don't matter. We're actually going to die several times, but it doesn't matter because we've got Krakoan technology and we can reincarnate. So death has no consequence.
Yeah. That was a definite choice. Oh, wait a minute. So Daverboy is saying that the death of Steve is an ultimate universe thing and not the main universe. I'm not sure if that makes it better or worse, Daver. Man, he has a long... I forgot how freaking long that intro is. Because as soon as Louis gets in the ring, I want to go to the restroom. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go to the restroom right now. Guys, I'll be back, and when I come back, I'm just going to throw out the next subject so you guys can percolate on it. All it says is Tommy Black's comeback tour, which is kind of what's going on with the Nexus Titan right now. What do you think about it? And I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Now, all right, let's see what we got here. So, I mean, that's one way to look at it, race car. You know, I'm looking at what Zacho put here for the Tommy Black comeback tour. And I think part of it, and guys, also, if you've got questions about any storyline stuff, now's the perfect time to post them. Because we're here, and I'll either tell you that's a deep, dark secret, or I will say, I'll tell you what I know. that's an interesting spot. Yeah, more Tim. Yeah, as Hex is saying, more to Tommy's story than "You're the champ, give me a shot."
Yeah, yeah.
I think part of that is also, I don't know if we're emphasizing how much of a comeback tour it is. But anyway, like I was saying, if anyone does, if there's, I mean, there's a couple more things on Zacho's list, but if there's anything else you guys want to hear about, I mean, you're not. I mean, Bob, that was pure Zacho. The whole Johann's hammer thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Zacho having a vision and working hard to figure out if he could make it pay off.
Well, in cases like that, you know, when it's something so custom like that, it comes down to whether or not Zacho thinks it's doable.
Yeah, there have been matches where the planned ending didn't happen usually because the game or the edits did not cooperate. All right, so here's one for you, Tim. Bob is asking if there's a character that's no longer in the show that you could bring back, if you could, be it an NPC or a PC, who would it be? I mean, I have an absolute definitive who I would love to have back. And I got a couple that would be nice to see. But Tim, I'm going to throw that to you first.
So I was trying to think while you were saying this, because I have one answer that's honestly a tad shit posty.
Okay.
And that's Bosco.
Okay, sure.
As far as like other than that, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Gorewheel. I like what Hex said with that. Gorewheel was good.
Which I know that Frost has talked about possibly coming back, but if he does so, he said it would be with a new character. I do miss Gorewheel though. Gorewheel was great.
It's a fun character, yeah.
Completely agree with that. The character, I mean, the character. Could you bring back a character? The first one that comes to my mind, and it's just how I love the character, how they played, what they worked, and I am absolutely talking about the final iteration of this character. What I wouldn't give to have Wilson back.
Yep, I figured that was where you're going. Yeah, and I think that would probably be my serious answer. Like, because like part of my thing with Bosco is because he doesn't want the character to come back. It's like, okay, well that means I want him to come back.
Yeah. I mean, there's messing with Bosco, which is just messing with Bosco. But
exactly,
it is. Wilson was just so legitimately a good character. And again, where Maryland decided to take the character, especially after the MSTK bit, because it really was a turning point. And I think it's a great example of a character that went from a haha joke character to a badass.
Sure.
Well, Manda still has a character. Here's the thing. Especially with what 26 gives us. My other wish would be I would give anything to bring Warfist into MNW. All right, and a victory for Aiden. I think part of it is also when we talk about things like this is, it's not just the. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hex, look what. Okay, Hex, Daver. This match could really happen at some point in the future, but for right now, it's just what I basically was like, I wanted the hero and the villain. And I almost had Grim here, then I realized no, for Grim's another hero's villain. For this level, for what the Blue Hood is now, his arch nemesis is Theron. And so I went with this. But there are a list of characters where I love them for what they were and would like to see them back. Even if it was just for a brief run. Yakiniku Party is on that list. Schmuckles is kind of on that list. Those are variations. You know who else I really like, because they just work with a lot of stories, but they're just not around anymore? Papusa Monkey. And if I'm going to throw in Papusa, I might as well also throw in DJ Milsner. So that I would say would be my tier list of characters I would love to see back. But 100% on the top of it would be Wilson. Bar none. And the thing is, what happened with Wilson was totally Marilyn's plan. I always felt it was interesting. I'll say this, especially because we got our champion here. When Marilyn won the belt at Multivania, her first and solid request was that she didn't want Wilson holding the belt more than 200 days. She didn't want to be a Vania champion. She very much wanted the belt to go on somebody else. Although thinking that story then brings one more person I would absolutely love to see back, and that's the Beef. On the villain side, I would love to see the Beef. So, with all of that, as we get into this match, on Zacho's list is, what are the thoughts of Blue Hood's current reign as a fighting champion? Let's talk about an entrance fitting a character. The Sandman entrance with Theron. All right, so while we appreciate the Theron entrance, so one of the things about the Blue Hood as champion is this is something that Zacho and I discussed extensively, because I had two characters that I felt should have been champions a long time ago. And when I say long time ago, I mean before I was running the show. Which, by the way, I'm trying to do my math. Have I been the showrunner longer than Kurt was?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, because I took over in, what, 22? I want to say I took over in 22, and it's 26 now. and Kurt would have started in 2019. So yeah, I'd get a little longer. All right. Kurt was from end of 18 to 21. All right. More of a curiosity point than any ego thing. But no, my point is, back during the Kurt era, I thought that both Alba and Daverman should have, either one of them should have held the belt. And it always kind of stuck in my mind as an injustice that they didn't. So the current storyline is a lot of making it right in my head. So we put the belt on Alba. Now, one of the reasons he didn't hold it longer is the player isn't really very active. I haven't seen him in a long time. Whereas moving the belt onto Blue Hood, as you can see in this very chat, Daver's active. So this was, and honestly, yeah, especially towards the end of Kurt's run, I was really like, and this is when I was doing firing line, so I had at least some communication, and it was like, I really felt that Daver should be the champion. And the timing didn't work out, and Kurt essentially had very specific thoughts about who should get a title shot and why. And based on his philosophy, he just didn't feel it was warranted. I have a different philosophy. However, it is also, I want to reiterate, I am not the head booker for Warzone. Zacho is. Zacho books the show. I feel my role in MNW is essentially as a producer. I run the actual show. You know, I make sure it happens, but the primary writing and decision making is held by Zacho. However, Zacho, Tim, and I have a relationship where we can work and pitch ideas and actually have discussions of where we want to see things go. So, you know, part of this was just saying, hey, I would eventually like to see these guys get the belt. And that led to this story because Zach was like, yeah, I agree with the basic thought. So that's where we get to where we are now of the Hood having the belt. And I mean, part of it is also one of the things in actual wrestling that still really will bother me and will forever bother me is William Regal never got that championship run.
Sure.
You know, William Regal is somebody who absolutely deserved a run with the belt and never got it. And so to me, getting the belt on the Hood is making sure that that didn't happen with this character. Yeah, neither did Piper. There are people who we think of as some of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and they never got the belt. And I definitely think of characters like Alba and the Hood. And I'm not going to lie, at this stage, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think he's held the belt, at some point, just based on work rate and everything that's happened, I absolutely 100%, at least for a little while, want the belt on Theron. Just because I think he needs to be able to say he was the man. Now, again, part of the reason why that can be a challenge at times is that Theron is the great example of a character who's relevant no matter what. He's the character that he's going to do shit and you're going to care, Pistol Whip. regardless if he has the belt or not. And so at some point, and right now it's not in any of the direct plans, but it's just at some point I would like to see. But it also, again, that's my philosophy and vision of wrestling. Zacho doesn't always necessarily see it the same way. He has a little bit more of an old school territory booker attitude. And I am not going to pretend that I will ever fully understand how Bosco looks at that particular thing. I know he has plans, but Bosco also let Squinto Bean hold the title for 4 years. So. I mean, CJ, from within the philosophies I'm talking about, yeah. Again, Andrews is primarily a flashbang character. So, other than me agitating a little for it, it's not going to hold a lot of weight, because I'll promise you, Bosco has his own plans, and that's fine. I mean, I half the time going into Multivania, Bosco flat out lied to me about who was going to win the flashbang title. Flat out lied to me. And because it's Bosco, I couldn't tell if he was lying. I always have to kind of believe him. But the problem is, I hate to say this because he is a friend, Bosco is a very good liar. Because he's a very good actor and he commits to the bit. So, it's, but yeah, that's how I see part of it with Champ. And there are some characters where you just want them to have a belt. Doesn't have to be a big belt. One of the things I've had to resign myself to is the fact that I have no expectation that the creation will ever hold the belt. Which I would like that. I would love that just for the character for just a short run. Doesn't even have to hold it long. Just to say he's been a champion. But that's not how Bosco uses the character. And there you go. And there's also the I am the other showrunner. So I just sort of accept. I mean, it's always possible. He's got the creation in the interdimensional story right now. But it's, it is what it is. And like I say, I don't get my ego tied up into it. Because in the end, it's all about telling a good story. And, I guess in the end, that's as long as there's a good story going on, as long as the creation has a good story. And right now, the creation has a good story. So I'm good with it. I mean, this is also a good point that Bob is making. If you need a belt to be relevant or get over, you're doing something wrong with your character. And that goes right back to what we were just saying about Theron. Theron doesn't need a belt to be relevant. At all. By the very nature of the character, he's relevant. On Warzone, I would say that is probably also very true of Grim. That I would state right now is fairly true of, who else has that vibe? I think even though he is a champion right now, I think Driscoll is one of those guys that is relevant, whether or not Sawyer is relevant, whether or not.
I can't remember last time I had a title. I know I have.
Yeah, you have.
But it's been a bit.
It's been a bit, yeah. And there's just part of that, you know. And again, the creation is like that. Creation is relevant with or without a title. It was just a part of me would love to see him have it. But on the other hand, as long as, you know, Bosco has said his goal with the creation is the creation comes out, and he wants there to be a little bit of a reaction, especially on the opponent of, oh shit, it's the creation.
But here's the thing. It's fine for your character to want a title. And it's fine for you to think it's cool when it happens. But you yourself can't feel like you need one.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's made up and doesn't really matter.
Well, and I think it also becomes very, you know, and because I hate to say it, I've seen it. I'm not naming names, but I've seen people in the community get upset when they've lost titles.
Oh yeah.
And it's a story. It's MNW is a role-playing game, and in role-playing games, there's ups and downs. In wrestling, there's ups and downs. You know, one of the worst things I think WWE does is they right now have a little problem with forever champions. You know, I am legitimately pissed off right now that Roman Reigns is in the title scene again. Because it's to me, it's then how do you've got to build up your younger stars. And part of, you know, if you've got guys who are Hulk Hoganing and dominating the top scene forever, what does that do for the young talent?
Wow, so 4 years. Been over 4 years.
Yeah. So, you know, there are... So that's, you know, but that is just, like I said, titles are a tricky thing. And titles...
Well, and to what you were saying, like, this has always been my kind of chuckle, is we're a made up, we're a fictional league based on a fictional sport. So we're role-playing the role-playing. So, like, there's multiple levels of this is scripted, this is made up, that it should be even clearer how it's not a, oh, you deserve this, or your character is, dude, it's storytelling.
Yeah. And
it is.
And there are, I mean, right now there's a character that hasn't shown up a lot that I've been discussing with Zacho, how we bring them back. And part of it is his plans for bringing that character back got derailed. And they got derailed by certain character retirements. I think we just figured out a new way to do it. And so, but that's part of it also is there is an ebb and flow in MNW specifically. And that ebb and flow is there is a time when certain characters are going to get a lot of attention and other characters aren't. But as long as it is a character of somebody active in the community, they will get spotlight again. So Croc4 is a great example since he's up here. Croc, the player, is very active. So there's always going to be opportunities. There's always going to be times where he is going to show up and be doing stuff because he's an active player. Same can be said of anyone in this chat right now. El Robot, Malice is going to always show up. Ignacio is going to be doing stuff because Brad's around. Osman Keeling, I'm looking at the chat right now. Like we said, Devin was just sort of coasting in the lower mid card until Gamer Devin came back, grabbed the storyline with Craig and went, woohoo! So it is always going to be that's going to be a factor. But part of that is also sometimes they won't be as active because we've got other stories to tell right now. So people will ebb, people will flow. But if the character's on a back burner during one set of stories, they are going to come more prevalent later. Honestly, some of the best stories we've had is when characters return. I mean, the moment, because Croc was gone for what, a year and a half? And returned, we had him reappear, and it was like, oh my god, Croc4 is back. And that caused a resurgence. Because that's exactly what happens in wrestling. So, anyway, let's do this match. So, well, let's let this happen. Now, these are two characters. I mean, they've been around forever. Anon predates me actually watching the show. I think Croc does too. But we've had fun with these guys. Anon's another character I feel I can voice very well just because the promos, when his player did promos, were very distinctive. They're the Wild Boys right now because they're in a faction with Grizzly Adams. And that is just because we're still on 24 and it doesn't allow sub-teams. In 26, that won't be a problem. Because in 26, you can have sub-teams and they'll come out with the sub-team name. Speaking of, well, in the case of Ozir, a character predating me, I remember when Sam debuted. The Creation's first match was against Shoot Nation, by the by. I will always remember that. His second match was against Devin, who kicked his ass. Devin, I don't know if you remember that. Week 1, Creation slammed you repeatedly into a ring and won. Week 2 with Doom. Week 2, Devin came in and made the Creation tap. Anyway.
Oh, I completely forgot.
What?
Character we'd like to have back.
Uh-huh.
Daddy, oh daddy.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it'd be fun to have Notorious CAT back. That's a character, if he came back, the pop would be insane. The last storyline that Zacho just want to throw out as a discussion point is Hero Time. Which is kind of, to me, there's a lot going on, but his statement here is Hero Time overextending themselves now by trying to go for the tag titles on top of everything else. You see, this is another one that I'm not going to speculate because I know exactly where we're going with the story. So this is more of an audience rating, but also just sort of the nature of Hero Time right now. Because Hero Time is another one of those teams that has been through multiple evolutions. Which itself, because I'm going to be honest, one of the things I loved back in the day when I started watching MNW, you know, predating my creating Firing Line and Tim and I going crazy with that, is I thought Omega Club was great. I mean, they were a heel faction, yeah, but they were effectively Bullet Club. And there were a lot of factors that made Omega Club work. And although that does bring up another person, I'll know I'll never get him back. But another character, if I could get him back even for a short run, oh, what I wouldn't give to have Burnout Vaughn back on the show. But yeah, Omega Club, but even Omega Club evolved over time. And what's interesting is the last iteration of Omega Club effectively evolved into the Night's Watch. Whereas Hero Time, I would say Hero Time as a group had their origin in all the superhero characters coming together. But its own thing. But again, it's evolved, but mostly it's evolved because of how the characters evolved. And, you know, you've got the lineup it has right now. But that changes as, you know, characters change. I think that Arcelion, I'm not going to lie, that's kind of how I see Arcaster as being as well. He is an ancillary member of Hero Time until Zacho makes it otherwise. I mean, Sage, that would be great. Oh, bloody end. I mean, that, again, depends on some coordination with Bosco. The biggest thing, the one thing I always wanted to do with a cross-team team-up was the deep wish to have a team-up for a while of Mega Rider and Brawl Kaiser. But yeah, with Hero Time, the thing, and part of it is, of course, Hero Time has a large, if somewhat nebulous, membership. Well, it didn't happen extended, Sage. It happened as a team up. But that was
a Vania match, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a Vania match. I was hoping for more of a story. Um, there we go. Death roll.
Oh, Sage is saying it wasn't Bania.
Oh, was them against each other. Okay, this is why we have this is, folks. This is why we have a lore keeper. And he remembers it because he was in the match. Fair enough. No, we got some big plans for Hero Time. I will say that. One of the things I have access is we have tentatively booked out the Warzone matches for Multivania. And we do that early because we want to know where the story's going. So we know where all the championships are going by Vania. We know some of the big rivalries for Vania. And we right now have also worked out some of the crossover matches for Vania. So a lot of this is, having that planning. When I say I know things that are coming, it's because we have to have, if one of our firm beliefs is we've got to have a firm vision of where these things are going to be able to book correctly and to have the stories make some goddamn sense. It's now, another character that I've just loved since day one and still love is Azir Turan. I always felt he makes a great villain. Although I'm going to state a character that I just have loved some shticks with is Registered Anon. And one of the things I did save as a highlight, and you can go on this Twitch channel and find it, is the Anon versus Anon promo / brawl. Which was a fun moment. Trials of Osiris locked in. It was a fun moment, particularly with Canada, since we were each doing an Anon. Which is right up there with, so Canada has always said when he made the voice for Seth Jackson, he was trying to make a voice he was pretty sure Bosco couldn't duplicate. So of course Bosco went on and absolutely duplicated it. And so we would be in chats where they would both be doing Seth Jackson at each other. Yes, and then Travis did it too. I'm the one that can't do Seth Jackson to save my life.
Hey, I can't either.
And I have to do it periodically. Because Zacho doesn't always consider the fact of whether or not I can actually do a voice when he books a promo. That was just doing a character bit, Sage, that I think worked really well. That was right up there with when you had the Doctor of Albinomics who talked in record scratches. And we had the promo between him and Ozir, where it was clear Ozir understood the record scratches. Oh, damn it, Bob. That is a tough question. Although I think Graven gave a very insightful answer. I'm just top 3 faces, top 3 tweeners, and top 3 heels. There's a part of me that wants to list Wilson as a tweener.
I feel like tweener is where the issue lies, is because that has always been up for contention, is what qualifies as a tweener.
I mean, I have always, Paul Heyman has said this, and Bosco has reiterated. Tweener is a bit of a misnomer. In any given match, you're going to have a face and you're going to have a heel in that match, regardless of any other status of the character. Right now in this match, OTP are clearly the faces and VIP are clearly the heels, even though there are matches where you can book it and OTP are the heels. And it's just, what do they constantly play as?
Like, what would you say Storyteller is?
Honestly, where I see Storyteller, I feel he is a face.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I see his position in the overall story. I feel he is a face because of what he's motivating. Although, again, you have the issue of what's his role. Because Storyteller's role isn't necessarily put anyone over. It's progress the story. And I mean that in the literal, when we use him in a match, we're moving the story forward. When I initially designed the creation, my intention was for him to be a heel. And other than, well, hang on, let me get this. This is loud. And other than the brain swap, he has always been a face. So sometimes you don't get to make that decision.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's like I say, ultimately, Wilson at the end. Wilson was a heel who evolved into a face. He had an attitude. But that's like saying, was Steve Austin a heel or a face? Steve Austin was always a face. Well, not always, but mostly a face. There's a quote, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a Canadian wrestler who was a heel. And there was something, they were doing a match in Calgary where he was a hometown boy and always got cheered. So it was always, well, I'm a heel everywhere else except Calgary, where I wrestle as a face. And somebody that wrestler really respected looked at him and went, no. In Calgary, you're a heel without heat.
Right.
And the guy said that stuck with him, and he never let them book him as a face in Calgary again. So
I mean, there is a notorious belief that uh, Canada is bizarre world, and all of the people you expect them to boo, they'll cheer and
yeah.
reverse. But yeah,
Well, and that's okay. So hang on, I'm actually gonna even put that up on the screen because we're not in a match right now.
there are rare cases where it's contested,
Yeah,
as to the who the audience thinks and what the original plan was. Obviously, the most notorious was Rock and Hogan,
sure,
where that was 100. You know, they had to completely redo the whole thing because
right. So
yeah.
I'm going to actually argue with Mega here for a second.
Okay.
Because he's going Mega was a blank slate for the sake of story when he went Kamen Rider is Forever Face. I don't think Mega was ever a blank slate. I always felt Mega was a face on a team of heels. Which kind of made him like Bailey in the Four Horsewomen. And I mean, this is my opinion. And it's just once he went Mega Rider, the face being a face was just more prominent, especially because he was no longer necessarily surrounded by the time Mega Rider was essentially the leader of Omega Club had become a face faction. But I feel that Mega was on some level always a face. And he just seemed blank slate because he was booked in heel storylines because the rest of his team were heels. I also would argue that in the latter part of his run that Burnout Vaughn was also a face. I'm thinking about Alpha after Alpha retired, Mega. That makes sense. So, but yeah, but that also, like you said, it's that strict, and part of it is also obviously characters can change. You know, there was a time on Warzone when our biggest face was Maximilian Thunder Thighs and our biggest heel was Sir Unkley Dunk.
Sure.
And you look at those characters now. Characters evolve, and sometimes you got face turns, you got heel turns. I mean, how many people remember when John Cena was a straight up heel? Part of the doctor of, when he was the doctor of Dunkanomics.
The Transformers will return after these messages. Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
This is literally part of the midnight thing. I'm gonna move it on though. Yeah, well, and again, that's characters change, they evolve, they go through things, and you know, for a while there, Tyson was a face. Tyson started out as a big heel back when he was Vince Smoke Sanjay. He was a huge heel. And again, he was leading Omega Club at the time, and then he was a monster heel when he was Hat Smoke. And then post Hat Smoke, he went through a face turn that lasted until he moved over to Flashbang and went back heel. And a part of that is I think that Beach Cowboy likes to play heels. And that's always in the end, wrestling is a soap opera. You need heroes, you need villains. But who are the heroes and who are the villains can alter.
But I know that there might be some wrestling fans out there that kind of take offense to the soap opera analogy. Wh- But it is a stage play. It is a stage performance,
Mhm.
and you need that is essentially, soap opera is just recorded.
Yeah. Well, so remind me, did you ever watch Glow? And I mean the Netflix series, not the original actual Federation.
No.
So on the Netflix show, when they were building the fictional Glow organization, two of the lead characters were actresses who were getting into wrestling, and one of them was having the hardest time getting her head around wrestling, getting her head around how the booking worked. And so one of the other characters who grew up in wrestling took her to an indie show, and they were watching it, and she explained, okay, here's what's going on, and she explained the backstory, and suddenly the actress who was, her eyes lit up because she had worked on soap operas, and she was like, oh my God, it's a soap opera. I understand now.
Yeah.
And because again, it's, yes, they don't like the analogy, but the story cadence is like a soap opera.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is that there's and I don't know, just for simplicity's sake, there's an overperformance in soap opera where you're somewhat over emotional in how you present things, and there's and stuff like that. That it's very in part with just stage performance.
Yeah.
You need to perform to the people in the back.
Yeah. All right, let's get this next match. And again, this is I wanted to get the big guys in. And especially because, El Robot is here. So I'm glad this one's happening.
But they both have caricatures as their actors, is probably the best way I could put it. Is everybody is like a caricature of themselves. Or whatever role.
So I mean, Mega. All I'm gonna say on that is there is a name for that, and it is imposter syndrome. And trust me, I know I suffered from it for years in my career. One of the things I always find interesting is I always feel imposter syndrome is the absolute opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect. For reiteration, the Dunning-Kruger effect is when someone thinks they're better at something than they really are because they're not smart enough to analyze their lack of knowledge. Which is a way of saying they're smarter than they think they are because they're not smart enough to analyze their own performance. Imposter syndrome comes because you're so intelligent that you're constantly analyzing your opponent, your performance, and you're focusing on the areas where you're not, where you feel you're lacking. And be honest. It's only in like the last 7 or 8 years that professionally I got past it. You know, this is one of those matches that if it was happening on the actual show, Jerry would be going nuts right now about the performance. And I'd probably be ruining my voice. This is another interesting case because Gorm, for most of his career, was a monster heel. And then we got into the more recent storylines where we made the call to take Gorm and essentially give the character a sense of honor. And we're able to successfully morph him into a face. Oh, don't. Hang on a second. I think the game's. Yeah, I think the game's crashing on me. Hang on. Hey, but it's a dark show, so we're gonna be fine.
Womp.
Yeah, it's not responding.
Oh.
No, that's okay. Hey, I can fix that. And honestly, we're doing decent on time for as much time as we got left, so I'm not.
Eh?
I just got to convince the game to shut down first, so I can reboot it. Oh, but let's just keep having. I mean, yeah, 2K thing is never going to change. You're not wrong, Devin. Well, part of it, one of the things we're always going to suffer in 2K is that the game is always designed for console. Yeah, the game is forever designed with PlayStation in mind. And what we get for what we get here on PC is always going to be a port. No, we didn't really take a break. And part of that is I usually take the break. One of the things you got to remember, I always try and take the break at the hour and a half point, which we have passed and I haven't done. So maybe it's the game telling me, hey, you guys should take a break.
Why not?
Yeah. So I'm gonna get everything rebooted. I'm at least gonna go to the restroom because here's the thing. I time the breaks out in part for at some point I'm gonna have to get up and go pee. Which is also why I time it. I mean, there's also studies that you should get up and walk around every hour and a half. So that's why I always kind of make hour and a half that key point. But it's also about the time I have to go use the restroom. It wasn't a big deal because I snuck off and used the restroom earlier during the show while we were doing things. Because it's an out-of-character night and wait, and I can do that. Yeah, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick. I'm going to leave the lo-fi on. I'm not going to go to a commercial. I'm going to leave the lo-fi on. But yeah. Take a few minutes, guys, and we'll be back. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is my voice coming through?
I hear you.
Good. My dog snuck into the office when I was coming back in, did a quick run around the room and unplugged my microphone.
Ah.
So, had to make sure it was still working. Alright, let's see if we are... Hang on. Alright. Come on. There we go.
We're going to need a screech air when
Oh.
you get a sec.
Right. I forgot. You would have lost that.
Yep.
There you go.
Dankeschön.
By the way, Neon Odyssey is now $56,000 away from the next stretch goal.
Nice.
It'll probably have hit it by tomorrow morning.
Oh, likely. But what I love is it's like there's still over 2 weeks left.
Yeah, 16 days to go.
So they've got time.
They've got time, and considering it was an initial 60,000. Zombie, I'm holding off right now because it's $70. I know it looks really good.
Yeah, if it weren't full AAA price.
Yeah, I mean, that's right now what I'm playing is Windrose, which is an early access pirate survival game. That I think I can best describe as it's the game that Skull and Bones promised us. And it's really well designed. And the way it's designed, it's something that I can play while I have another video on, which in some level is dangerous because Windrose is a game that I can play and lose hours in.
I've been back in Satisfactory. I've been building random pieces of architecture.
So, Mega, on your point, yeah, the dinosaur video game Space Paladin, I saw some stuff on that today, looks really good. So are you going to be the cybernetic, the essentially reskinned Jedi Knight? Or the scrappy revolutionary Paladin? And there's one other choice. Oh, or the video game. That's right. You're right. There is a Paladin that has video game powers. Never mind. You actually said it and I didn't pick it up. Yeah, they have a Space Paladin class that have video game powers and can do weird physics shit. And one of their races is essentially evolved up from dinosaurs. So I'm going to be honest, Mega. I'm right now really leaning heavily towards the Solar Elf Rogue Tracker. The Bloodhound, they call it.
I've been reluctant to delve into something I know I'm not actually going to get to play. So
Yeah, I get it. I get it. This is just how, when I look at games, this is how I think of it. Do I have Red Star Roman? I don't think no, because I never had Red Star Roman, I don't believe. I can look once we're done with Universe mode. But I think Roman was only ever on Zacho's box. Anytime Roman showed up, it was a pre-record from Zacho, Vegeta. And Vegeta, you know I love Roman. And once we get 26 up, where we can have all the characters on both games, because I love Roman. Tracer is the Ranger. I was using the D&D terms. I love how they've done their reskins in Neon Odyssey. I think the fact that they did a logical thing, taking the Artificer to the Mechanist. But I also like how they handled their wizards. Favorite storyline from either show currently? All right, currently is a key factor in that. Honestly, I want to start with Flashbang. And I think with Flashbang, the story I'm most engaged with, realistically, I mean, obviously the Executive Club is sucking the air out of everything. They're essentially the NWO. But within that, I hate to admit it, but I am very engaged in the storyline with Damian Anderson, but that's because, in part, he's adjacent to my own character on that show. I mean, I'm open to it, Vegeta. Absolutely open to having Roman fight on Warzone. I think there's some ready-made story for him there. As always, because he's the booker, it's also ultimately a question for Zacho. So the Damian Anderson storyline. But here's the thing. I also am very, very intrigued by what all is happening with the return of Victor Vicious. So that's my personal favorite on Warzone. Now on Flashbang. Warzone. There we go. Warzone, obviously, there's the issue of I produce the show, so I know where stories are going, and you never want to play favorites. Also, as opposed to Flashbang, one of the issues that's going to be different for Warzone is Flashbang I am just absorbing as a viewer. With a little input, with the same level of input as any other player. Warzone, I'm actively involved. So with Warzone, there's almost the argument of what storyline do I enjoy, in part because of participation. And honestly, it's a bit of a toss-up. I love TPK, but that's because it's scratching my Dungeons and Dragons itch. but also I love the characters. But the other storyline that I'm absolutely invested again in is Sir Uncle Dunk. And to a certain extent with Sir Uncle Dunk, it's the redemptive storyline. So I also, some of that bleeds into enjoying what's going on with Semjax. I'm constantly pushing for, let's do more with the Semjax story. So. So, Mega, before I hit play, just to kind of finish up the current Neon Odyssey conversation, what I'm doing right now with Evantris, because it kind of came to Evantris late, and I was mostly following Once Upon a Witchlight. What I have started doing with Neon Odyssey is I am starting with watching Stardust Rhapsody Anthem, which is the Stardust Rhapsody canon, which is essentially the origin, which is the storyline they're using for the ad campaign. So, if you've watched the Neon Odyssey trailer, the characters that appear in the trailer are the characters from Stardust Rhapsody Anthem. And the reason I say Anthem is there was another Stardust Rhapsody story, Overture, that has been made non-canon. So, yes, I want to watch some of the other one-shots because they are specifically Neon Odyssey. But the home brewing that became Neon Odyssey started on Stardust Rhapsody. So that is what I'm watching, because it also is then the backstory of all those characters. They just introduced the Saurian Grid Runner in the story where I'm watching it. Ziggy's pretty good. Again, you've got Pike, who is so Spike Siegel corded. So this is another of the matches that shows up as default in my universe mode week after week after week. You know, I wonder how much of the Unkley stuff, Vegeta, is the amount I enjoy it. And when I get to play Unkley. Unkley is an interesting character because I will build my in-ring promos for him based on what Unkley does in his recorded promos. But then I know he will take stuff I do in the in-ring promos and play with them in his recorded promos. He and I have a very interesting feedback loop going between us. And Bob, I apologize. Like I said, the music files on my machine are a little fucked up right now. So one of the things with Bob, I gotta say, And it's how long we've been doing this shit together. And that is that I've watched a fair amount of his streams and stuff with the Murder Cave. And the fact that there's a certain sound file.
Y'all a bunch of bitches! That's what y'all are!
And the fact that I remember that stream. I know exactly why Bob is calling the rest of the Murder Cave bitches. And I remember what they did to him that made him do it. For the record, they were playing Sea of Thieves. Which, by the way, I think Sea of Thieves personally hated Bob. Because of all the horrible things it did to him. Which, Bob, I think you would like Windrose. And Windrose is a game that can be perfectly played by yourself or co-op. And that's the great thing. You can do it by yourself if you want to, but if you want to have friends, you can do that too. So I did set momentum on this match to pass, because you gotta. I mean, Bob, what I remember is you playing with Churu. I was watching it on your... I was watching it... Was it your channel or Churu? All I remember was a volcano going off and watching the rock hit you right in the face. Look, the rule of Bob is a cruel mistress. The YouTube audience has got to be very confused by the chat conversation I'm having. Because I'm not putting anything on screen, but hey guys, it's all good. Oh, wow. I'm so glad this is out of character and I don't have to explain why those two teamed up. That's it. Load up the kendo stick and then drop it. All right, fair. That's something I wish the game would program in. If two characters both have kendo sticks, let them have a sword fight. One of my favorite memories of ECW was Balls Mahoney, and I want to say it was against Bubba Ray Dudley. Essentially having a sword fight with folding chairs. All right, Book of Grudges. All right. You know, there are conversations I remember, and one in the Discord was having a conversation with Daggerick about the, at the time, upcoming Witcher series on Netflix. Oh, there we go. Beware the dagger. Anyway, the conversation I was having with Daggerick was about the upcoming Witcher series, and he was very concerned because they were his favorite book series growing up, and he was worried they were going to make a mess of them. And I understood that, but I told him that Henry Cavill had a deep passion, and he did. I haven't spoken to Dagger in a long time, but I want to believe he's thoroughly pissed. Alright, hang on. I'm gonna check this out here real quick. Alright, so this last one, buckle in, everyone. I booked a casket match. So whenever I say let's head to ringside, I'm saying that as I press the button. Oh, dude, yeah, that is true. I mean, to be honest, I really can't start earlier because Warzone starts an hour after I get off work. Now, I have a great advantage. I work from home. So I can start doing a lot of my Warzone prep well before it's time. But work ends and I still need to deal with things like making sure I've eaten, getting prep done that I really can't do because I'm focusing on, well, my job. But, you know, it's kind of the same problem I think that East Coast fans of Critical Role have to deal with. Because their show starts at 7 p.m. on West Coast. And let's just say I'm glad I have a Beacon membership so I can pause it and go to bed. So you're also now witnessing one of my great challenges in Warzone. By the time we're getting to the final match, I've gotten tired.
Yeah.
And so there's the challenge of keeping the energy up, keeping the conversation going. And Earl King West is glitching out. And of course, the couple of shows where I've had the misfortune of getting a migraine during the show. I'm not dealing with one tonight, by the way. And the casket. And the casket match rules.
Casket match rules, dude. Woo!
The number of weird matches that effectively either The Undertaker or Kane are responsible for.
Yeah. Casket match, buried alive match.
I'm trying to remember. I think The Taker was involved in the first Inferno match with Kane.
Right, right.
And of course, the casket is a weapon. Nissa.
So,
Well, I'm trying to figure out something. I'm getting a notice that I got to follow on Twitch, but I'm not seeing it on my screen.
what's the name?
I'm doing a refresh. It is Kilo Sun JK.
Weird.
And I see them in chat, so they're here. Thank you for the follow.
I mean, it could just be Twitch being Twitch.
Twitch could be. But hey, I got the Kilo Sun JK. I hope that's how you say it. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the. This is not a normal night, by the way. Normally, we are fully in character. These matches have a storyline. Tim only does the ring announcing, and I'm playing a much crazier character. And that doesn't even get into the stuff that happens on Thursdays and Sundays, which is completely different again. But welcome nonetheless. I am losing my voice, and that makes me mad. Because I have not been yelling tonight. But there's my pollen count. There we go. Tree is finally down to just high, but grass is now at very high. I suppose I should be thankful the ragweed is not bothering me. Don't you dare. Oh shit. Well, that's what's going on. So my system decided to run a virus scan, or a security scan right now. If we were in a regular show, I'd be talking about fey fuckery, messing with time. Bonk on the head. You know, this is another Earl King West is another character I actually like playing. Just because he's very straightforward on how to do it. He just an arrogant bastard. And of course, this brings back memories right now of the origins of Nakama Worldwide.
Do you have yourself a beverage?
For, oh,
Just to help with your voice?
I mean, I've got water.
Okay.
I also have, hang on. I have to, nope, I got one last one in the old bag. I also have Ricola.
Ah.
But I do think it's time to break out a Ricola. Because I was fine earlier, so I didn't think I would need tea. The spotlight. Any fans of Dr. Caliban's Nightmare Cinema when we did Sapphire and Steel remember the absolute terror of a beam of light on the ground. Which, by the way, this Thursday on Nightmare Cinema, we're voting on the next serial. Remember your past sins, Thunder Baron. Actually, I don't know if Thunder Baron's still here or not. All right, here we go again. What's my favorite cereal? Really? I didn't expect it to end that fast.
Huh.
Hang on a second, I'll answer you, Devin. Let's just get past this. Okay, I'm gonna wait. So this is what I deal with every week. It's over. We hit continue. Goes here. Then here's the, usually because I have recorded matches to get to, so rather than move to next show, I just back out of the game entirely. So I can get over to getting ready for the recorded matches. Favorite cereal? I think there is a level of what I eat a lot of, which can change. It can, I'll eat things. As somebody with autism, I tend to like what I like, but it can change after you do enough of something. I want a little variety. So I would argue my favorite cereal, I just don't do it all the time because I can get tired of it very quickly, is Grape Nuts. What I usually have around the house is Cheerios and Mini Wheats, and I alternate them. But I also don't eat cereal in the morning. Cereal is, I always have what I refer to as dessert cereal. So cereal is what I have as a I usually eat cereal after I'm done with things. So like I will have a bowl of cereal tonight, about an hour, hour and a half before I go to bed. I mean, I will eat it for breakfast if I don't have other choices, but yeah. So I tend to like, and mix it up. Sometimes I will switch to Fruit Loops, which is really just Cheerios with a fruity flavor. So, yeah, that's how I deal with cereal. Breakfast is usually, I want to have a little bit heavier protein. My most common breakfast I make for myself is Toad in the Hole. Which, for those who aren't familiar, Toad in the Hole is you take a piece of bread, cut the center out of it, butter up the frying pan, put the bread in the frying pan, then crack an egg into the center, and you essentially do eggs over easy, but having the structure of a piece of bread. Other than that, I will often do hard-boiled eggs. There's a lot of names for it, Bob. For me, it was always Toad in the Hole, eggs in the basket, bird in the basket are other common names for it. Often with a banana. Or I'll do hard-boiled, occasionally scrambled. But there's also a joke. Every Saturday morning, I go to a breakfast place near where I live with my wife. And I almost always, with very little variation, have the same thing. To the point of all the waitresses that know me just ask, are you going to have your usual? Which is 3 eggs over easy, bacon extra crispy, hash brown, sourdough toast, and a large milk. And of course, coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I thrive on caffeine. So, that's me in breakfasts. Lunches and dinners can have more variety. Here's a weird thing. Even though I like what I like, and a lot of what I like is, as I like to say, very basic bitch, I can be an adventurous eater in that if somebody puts something in front of me I've never had before, I will try it. Doesn't mean I'll like it, but I'll try it. And I think that's because growing up with a Scottish grandmother, haggis was a very normal thing to me. In fact, what I'm surprised with is it was just haggis. I did not experience bangers and mash until I was much older. Much less shepherd's pie, although to be fair, shepherd's pie is Irish, not Scottish. Anyway, that is my breakfast. And we got there. I mean, Tim, this was a regular show.
Yeah.
And I already know who we're going to raid. Because he's just sitting there asking for it. We're going to raid Arkolf. I mean, he's right there. Everyone, thank you for joining us this night. I know it was... Again, next week there will be a regular Warzone. I don't know what it is yet, because normally on Thursdays is when we do the booking. And as I said, we got into that meeting and Zacho was sick. So I don't have new booking. I couldn't tell you what we're probably doing. Other than the matches that were obviously set during the show. I'm feeling fine, dude. I'm just tired right now, Devin. And my allergies are getting to me a little bit. I think Tim was also just tired at this stage.
Yeah, really just tired.
Yeah, Zacho was the one that needed to recover, but I think he's recovered. Wait, is this?
Well, and all you people are talking about, oh yeah, man, there's people on the East Coast, what they have to deal with. Hi.
Yeah, Tim is in fact East Coast, but because of various things exists on a West Coast time. We got
yeah, no, it's like quarter to midnight for me, so yeah.
So I did get a resubscribe message from Bosco. Now here's the question: is he here? I don't see him.
Maybe.
Well, here's the thing: I don't see him.
Oh, he says he is.
Well, yes. Okay. Well, then you are. Because this was out of character night.
He could be lying though.
Look. I stand by what I said earlier. Okay.
Yeah, Bosco, he's talking mad shit about you.
It's not that I don't trust Bosco. It's that he has lied to my face on more than one occasion. And that wouldn't be so bad if he was bad at it. But he's not. He is an excellent liar. He comes from being a very good actor. And he lied virtually to my face last year about what was going to actually happen in the Flashbang World Championship match. So I just come to expect that whether or not
But I also recall Bosco saying several times that he likes to surprise you.
Well, that's why he lied to me. He even said that he lied to me with the best intentions.
Well, I mean, it's not like he doesn't. It's not like he's like, man, I'd never lie to you.
No,
I'm pretty sure he's never.
No, he's never said that. He is open that on some level.
So then that's on you at that point. I don't know what you were expecting.
Now, Bosco, since we're out of character tonight, and we've been out of character all night, and you're kind of here, if you want to jump in and say anything to the audience, because I think we got a mix of Warzone and Flashbang guys in. If there's anything you want to announce, now would be a great time.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to say this out loud. For Bob is saying that off-key line got fished. Do not click anything from them.
I mean, that's been a ramp. A friend of mine got fished earlier, and I almost got hit by it. Fortunately, Matt Hatterson got to me beforehand. So yeah, if you see anything from off-key line, be cautious. Okay. All right. So, Bosco, here's your chance to tell. Oh, you missed the earlier conversation. We've been answering questions all night.
Mm-hmm.
When a question came up, what former wrestler in MNW would you like to see back?
Even if just as an NPC.
Anyone? Like retired or not?
Yeah, anyone.
I got a couple in my head, but it goes back. Oh man.
That's okay. Tim said Edward Bosco.
I'll say Wilson.
God damn it! That was our serious answer. I think we all agree we would love to have Wilson back.
I'd love to have Wilson back just because the person behind Wilson is
you
really
wouldn't
cool.
want to. I picked you specifically because I knew you wouldn't want to.
Wouldn't want to what?
Come back.
Oh, I'd love to come back. I'm not allowed to.
That is
Bullshit.
That is not true. I don't know if you remember. We actually make the rules. But
See, that's why I'm not allowed to come back, because I've elevated myself to the point where now it's a conflict of interest. So it's a catch-22. So it's over.
Fair enough. But I think
it's over.
We all agreed we like Wilson because Marilyn did a great job.
Yes, Marilyn crushed it.
And,
Yep.
And that is. I also wouldn't mind Burnout Vaughn.
Vaughn would be fun to get back just because they were always super active. I'd love to get D4C Trice back from Omega Club. That'd be fun. I know they're still around, but if Alpha Kong could come back, I always enjoyed that character. I know they're still active as a different character.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out, Sheepy.
DJ Milsner was always fun, like just dancing around and
I
being crazy.
I had Milsner on my list too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Kong is still around. He's just Alistair Evergreen.
Sheepy's already back, Gamer Devin. I don't know if you saw Flashbang, but Sheepy didn't leave. They're still around.
So, those guys. The other thing we were discussing was just sort of the philosophies of who we put titles on. And I know you and I have very different thoughts on that matter.
As far as who we put titles on?
Well, so for example, one of my big things, and I was discussing, is this last year I righted what I felt was an injustice on finally getting titles on Alva and Daver. Or finally getting the big title, because I don't like the idea of certain prime characters not getting that. You know, it's the sin against William Regal, as I think of it.
Right. Or Razor Ramon.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that you have slightly different thoughts on when you want to move titles around.
I typically keep them on people longer is my only, like I kept it on Vic for 4 years above game.
Yeah.
Like an idiot.
So, those were the things. So, with that, anything else you want to kind of share with the audience while we're here and kind of answering questions?
Just that I miss some of my old Flashbang folks. Like I see Gamer Devin and I see CJ, and I'm just like, I remember them.
I mean, we were discussing earlier how Devin took time off and we kept his character around, and he
sure did.
Latched onto the storyline we had and ran with it. Yeah, we're all talking about we'd love to get Notorious CAT back.
Oh, CAT would be great. I mean, we could make him and have him come back for a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically
speaking of people who needed to get a belt on them, Sensuna finally got a championship, which I was happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and they've had a decent run. Like, again, you keep the belt on people for a while. Yeah.
Although they've got a big challenge next. Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again. Everybody books different.
All right.
It's true.
I got to be honest. I haven't watched this week's Flashbang yet. I was at a 12-hour. No, sorry.
That's why I said they have a big challenge coming up. I didn't say who it was.
Yeah,
I didn't want to spoil it.
I was at a 13-hour conference on Saturday.
Ooh, yeah. I wanted to run on Friday. For those of you that don't know, I've been having computer issues out the wazoo. It was my GPU, which I then got to a repair shop, got another used GPU, which was also defective. So I'm now on my third GPU. It's not super powerful, but it at least is stable. So I can at least do stuff until I get a permanent solution. Yeah. So we're in a holding pattern, but at least it's working now.
There you go. So
only new video cards weren't so prohibitively expensive.
Now,
God, I looked at some old cards that were still like a couple grand, and I was like, this is absurd.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're doing one more pay-per-view before Vania, right?
Yeah, probably June 13th, I believe. I talked to Matrix about it because they're going to do some graphics for me.
Because Matrix is always good for graphics.
Yeah.
Good. We really have a talented team supporting these shows. And
it's kind of ridiculous. I'm glad that we're able to support them as well monetarily a little bit. Because of you guys, you make that possible. We're able to pay people behind the scenes because you're so generous donating. So thank you.
Now, all right, with all that, guess we're getting kind of at wrap up. So hang on, I got to do this because I've been messing with the audience. Well, not messing. So we are now it'll be $53,000 until the Neon Odyssey hits its next stretch goal. So,
you been keeping up with that, Annie? Ed?
I have not.
And Gamer Devin, thank you for gifting the 5 subs to the community. Everyone.
It's a D20 rule set for space. You could say much better Spelljammer.
Okay. You have my attention.
Think of the aesthetic of Cowboy Bebop or Outlaw Star type rule campaign.
Okay.
So,
how about it?
Yeah, they had a $60,000 goal. They're right now at $9,947,570.
They're getting close to breaking 10
Yeah.
million.
So,
Good grief.
I know.
Yep.
And again, they're an actual play group that just decided to get their rule set they homebrewed out there.
Well, there you go.
They basically reskinned the entire 5e role system into space equivalents.
Which always takes me
I
back,
respect when people just make what they want.
Yeah.
They're like, this doesn't exist. We're just going to make it.
because
Yep.
I still think one of the best
Well-
settings I ever saw, ever, and I will hold this, is Prince Division.
Yes.
Monty did
Man, I love Prince Division.
absolutely great job of doing a modern setting D&D. And having it make sense within a fantasy world that got to that tech level. I thought I'm always impressed by Monty's skills as a GM, but you know.
Mhm.
I think there should be something published on Prince Division so more people can get their hands on it. That's just me. Anyway,
Oh, and thank you, thank you, Devin, for the sub, and four other people that got.
that's another. Yeah, he's given out.
That's another one.
Yeah, he's given out a total of 10 gift subs. Thank you, Devin, very much for
Good
the
grief.
generosity. We
Very nice.
appreciate it. But I'm also at this point. I can feel my voice is beginning to threaten me, so we should probably wrap up. I think we're gonna rate Arkolf.
Hey, but with what message?
MNW for life.
There you go.
So before
By the way, he's been doing some great work on 26. He's already about 40% through the Flashbang roster. So at some point, he might start working on Warzone, because we're going to try to get. I don't know if you guys heard, but there's more slots this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna even if I have to pay Arkolf to do it, I'm going to try to get everything on 26 as soon as possible.
I mean, Zacho has been working on some of it, so he and the two of them need to coordinate, but we can make that happen.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
All right, so what's coming up on my channel on Thursday? Dr. Caliban's Nightmare Cinema. We are going to be watching episodes 9 and 10 of Radar Min from the Moon. It'll be the penultimate week for that serial, and we're voting on the next serial. Your choices are going to be Flash Gordon, Batman, Zombies of the Stratosphere, or Dick Tracy. We're also going to spin the wheel for our interim movie. If we land on Luchador, we're respinning because we've watched too many Luchador movies recently. So be there for that. And then Sunday will be Sunday in the Lab with Dr. Caliban and the Storyteller, where we're going to watch a bunch of movie trailers. And then we are going to watch a walkthrough video for the former theme park known as Evermore. And then right back here next Monday night, 6 p.m. for actual MNW Warzone. So that's what's happening here. Bosco, what do you got to plug?
We've got Flashbang coming up on Friday. We're going through Castlevania Symphony of the Night on Thursday. Unexpectables obviously is Wednesday. If you're into Vecna Eve of Ruin, that's over on Distortion Devil's channel on Tuesday. So tomorrow, I'll also be doing Halo Wars on my channel tomorrow. This coming Saturday, if you're into Warhammer D&D, the Unexpectables started a Rogue Trader campaign. So you can check out, I think we're on episode 6. All the stuff is up on YouTube for the Unexpectables, but this Saturday will be episode 6. So it's called Fool's Gelt. I highly recommend it. It's myself, Connor, Gaijin, and Zito, DM'd by Xanalis Grimm, who's a friend of the channel. So check that out. And then I'm also doing an honor mode run of Baldur's Gate every Sunday with Arkolf, Connor, and our friend Level 1 Eevee.
All right.
And that's all I got going on.
All right, everyone. So we're going to send you over to Arkolf. Again, MNW for Life is
For life.
great
For life.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again real soon. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.